I'm Ron from POC Culture. Hudson, how are you doing?
Good, man. Nice to meet you.
Likewise, thanks for taking the time. It's great to chat with you. I really loved your performance. I heard you talk about how you started in What If and you kind of leaned into sounding a little bit more like Tom Holland. And then you kind of evolved that. You added a little bit more of yourself for this series. Could you talk a little bit about that process and kind of how you wanted to evolve your voice from that first performance?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, there's so many iterations throughout the years of Spider-Man, and I think everyone has done a really good job of like bringing their own honesty to those performances. So with What If, it was kind of this interesting thing of trying to kind of honor what people want and were expecting out of that version of that Spider-Man that they knew. And like, again, like kind of trying to stay in the vocal zone as Tom. And there was some space, luckily, in between the two projects. So it's when I got a call about this, my first thought was like, okay, like, does this still live in the what if world, or is it its own thing? And as I was able to, have more conversations with Marvel about it and learn that like this is a new chapter and a new iteration and its own thing, I was really grateful for that because I think so much of what keeps this character real to people is like was me having the time to be able to be like, okay, what was I like in high school? What excited me? What, helps me impart that youthful optimism and hope, and bring a little bit of my own version of that to the table.
Oh, I love that. I'm wondering if I could touch on those conversations you had with Marvel to really flesh out what their expectations were for this series. Like you said, something totally different than What If. What were the elements that they mentioned? No spoilers, of course, but that really kind of resonated with you and made you excited even more so about this project.
I think just that this is the Spider-Man of modern day. This is the most 2025 Spider-Man that we've seen. And, the initial info that I heard about all that, it's like, you're always a little bit wary of that, because it's like modern can go both ways. But I think this show did such a great job of being like, I'm the oldest of five boys. And the scenarios that I find myself in with Peter feel very familiar in a way that's like really natural. So I think they did a really good job of like keeping it fresh, keeping it modern, but also like casual and conversational.
Yeah, I feel like it struck that perfect balance. I think the theme song is like really symbolic of that, how it really has that old school sound, but also adds the new twist, of course. I know
Totally.
you're an accomplished musician yourself. Is there any possibility we might hear some of your music or anything in a future season?
I would absolutely love that. It's definitely been on my mind. My wheels have been turning, and things have been just kind of so crazy with each of those things respectively that it hasn't happened yet. But that's definitely a goal.
We got to talk to Jeff or whoever. We got to make it happen.
Yeah, we'll make it happen somehow.
I love that. And you talked about how you really tapped into your own experience, which I think is so great because there is that humanity in Peter Parker that's critical to the role. I'm wondering the relationships that Peter has with Nico and Lonnie and all the other characters in this show, to me, really elevate this to the next level. What was it like for you to play that Peter Parker, just like the high school kid, and relating to all these other kids and trying to have these relationships? How did you like really bring out that emotion?
Yeah, it's this our your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is interesting. Someone actually made the point today, and it was kind of the first time I really thought about it. There's it's weighted a lot more Peter Parker than Spider-Man. So you're seeing, a lot more of I think Peter in his in high school a lot more than out as Spider-Man, at least in the beginning. So yeah, sorry, can you repeat your question? My brain is fried, and I had there was something specific I wanted to say, and now I'm losing it.
Yeah, just about the relationships and bringing that emotion out when Peter
Oh,
Parker is
right,
dealing
right.
with those. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, like for me, it was just bringing everything again back to high school. Like I think Peter Parker and Spider Man, those characters only work if they're really rooted in truth. And you know, for me, like thinking about like how much of a big deal everything was and like how badly I did want to be friends with the popular guy. And then like watching like, oh, he's not who you think he is because like, no, everyone puts on this air in high school that's fake. And it's just like kind of just diving back into that for myself in my own life, like what those were like really helped me with this.
That's great. And I think it really came through. We've all been through that phase, and Hudson, you really nailed it. So congratulations. Love the show.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad you like it, man.
Great chatting with you.
You too.
Hi, I'm Ron from POC Culture. Jeff, Mel, great to chat with you both.
Likewise.
Same. Love the background. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Love the show. Jeff, I'm going to start with you. This is a great time to chat because the initial reactions just came out yesterday, and it gives us a chance to do a little introspection. I've heard you talk about how you used to work as a security guard at Target, and now here you are running maybe the biggest superhero around. How have the last few hours, half day felt like for you?
Incredible. I mean, I've always believed in this show. I've always believed it's special. I see the work that our team does, and it's incredible. But you never know how people are going to accept it. So seeing all these reviews and seeing everyone just enjoyed it so much means the world to me. It means that like I can go back to the team and say, hey, everyone loves our work, and that's really cool.
Absolutely. And we need to do more is what you
Yes.
Mel, in the vein of Spider-Man and his amazing friends, what I love about this show is it's just packed with heroes, villains, and ones where we're going to maybe see in the future. What was maybe a favorite character that you got to work on and tell the story in this show?
My favorite character is one gang member called Peanut. That
weird ass.
I'm kidding. That's a hard question for this. See, oh gosh, who's my favorite character for this? It's actually Harry.
Oh,
yeah, right. It's Harry. It's yeah, especially in wait till season 2. I don't know whether I can say that. But
well, you said it. So.
Yeah. Sorry, Marvel.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And just speaking about the characters, right? Like this is like the MCU we know, but obviously not. Like, what Earth designation is this?
That's a great question. I would love to just say something, but then I don't want later Kevin to be like, no, it's this. So I'll just say we are undesignated for now. But the second someone deems us a number, I will tweet it out to the world.
Thinking like
all right, fair
X or something, right? Maybe
Mel's gonna tell you something, but
I don't know.
what Mel says.
Mel, sorry, what did you say there?
66X. I
616X.
Sorry, 6. Yeah.
He doesn't know. Don't.
Well, the twist that makes it different here is the relationship, especially with Peter, Nico, and Lonnie, right? And obviously like Harry, like you've got all these Norman. It's like the characters we know, but different. Like especially Nico, Jeff. Like why is Nico the character you chose to be like Peter's best friend in this story?
I think once we knew we were going to go down a different route, there were, we figured we needed someone that kind of fit the mode of this. We needed someone to fill that role. And there were a few options, but for me, like Nico made the most sense. She's such a fun character. And I really love the Runaways and I love that character. So I figured if we can kind of pick and choose and move characters over to interact with Spider-Man, Nico also affords us those that are familiar with her story, a option that we normally wouldn't be able to do with maybe another character. So Nico for me was like a very clear-cut favorite from the beginning, and from there was just building who she is in our world and how she affects Peter and vice versa.
Yeah, I love that. Now, Mel, I'm going to ask you another character question. Like, again, there's so many great characters, but was there a character that you all wanted to use in this season that you couldn't quite fit in, or maybe you weren't able to use?
Yes, Big Wheel, right, Jeff? Unfortunately, due to licensing issues, we originally wanted to use Big Wheel. We couldn't. There was quite a few characters we wanted to use that we weren't allowed to yet. So hopefully we can in the future.
But, yeah, absolutely.
Like Big Wheel.
Jeff, one of the great things about this again twist, the great power comes with many things. Like, you know, Norman plays this like bizarro Tony Stark role. When did you decide to like craft, like put him into that role that we kind of see Tony Stark do in the MCU, but obviously with the twist?
That was really early on as we were kind of figuring out the show. You know, I know there's been conversations of like, oh, well, it was always supposed to be like this origin, but like very early on, we went, okay, well, if this is this, then what does this get us? You know, what does Norman as Peter's mentor get us? And that was to me like a very fun area to mine. I think I've said a lot is like, you know, every Spider-Man fan knows who Norman is. So if you hear Norman as Peter's mentor, you're gonna go, that's not gonna go well. So even in that, like crafting who our Norman is and how we wanted to introduce him, like I think even that changes your perception of Norman, because now you're like, well, I know this thing to be true, but this is a different person. So, you know, are these things going to go the way I think they're going to go? And for me, like that's really interesting because then we as the audience are on the same footing as Peter. You're meeting someone who says they want to help, you believe they want to help, but do they have ulterior motives?
Yeah, I love that. It makes us watch the show with like half covering our eyes, waiting for the shoe to drop. Well, thank you both so much. This show is awesome. I cannot wait for season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many we can get, and look forward to chatting with you again.
Thank you so much.